Hello, this is Cheryl from my art studio, and I wanted to share with you today 5 ways that you can start your abstract paintings. I've been told, even by seasoned artists, that blank white canvas can be a bit of a hindrance to getting their painting started. It's like the inspiration just can't get started. So I have found that activating the canvas with paint or marks just gives that little bit of inspiration that I need to get my painting started. So I hope this video gives you some inspiration to get into your art studio and paint. So come on with me. This first section, I wanted to go into the many markers, pencils, crayons, and graphites that can be used to start a painting. I have some certain favorite ones. As you can see, there's a lot on the table, and there's so many more that you can add beyond what I have. First of all, here's my Caran d'Ache. They're Neocolor 2 water-soluble crayons. They're highly pigmented for concentration. These crayons are softer than colored pencils, but they're extremely responsive to a wet brush. They're absolutely gorgeous. Now these are the Lycra Aqua colors. They are water-soluble crayons, and they have intense pigment, highly light fast. They're an unlimited range of colors with those. These are my absolutely favorite. They are Art Crayons by Malibu. I got mine on Amazon. They're creamy, they're soft. Each one is extremely high pigmented with a vivid color, and they're transparent. They are suitable for both wet and dry. You can use them on canvas, paper, wood, and they're very luxurious, and they're, like I said, my favorite. Then we go to the Lycra. These are, they call them crayons, but they're actually graphite. A lot of artists use these for drawing and shading, but you can use graphite. There I'm using a pencil. You can use graphite of different types. There's a art graphite stick, and these you can put all over your canvas. I use these a lot to get started, just to start making marks. When you put water with them, the color is just a very beautiful smudgy color. Then I move over to my Bistro chalk markers. These I don't use these all the time, but I love these because they've got some really good qualities for them. They are opaque. They have different size tips. I think these are medium. People use them on chalkboards, windows, dry erase boards, but I use them on my canvas and especially on my water paper. Then there's the old-fashioned China markers or grease pencils. If you pull that string, it will sharpen it and bring it down so you have more of the marker exposed. Very dark lines, very dark pigmented. You can use that on your canvas just to make some beautiful black lines and swirls, and there I've added some water to it to show you what it does with water. Then here's another of my favorite, and these aren't very expensive. These are painters. I got these at Walmart, I believe. These you can use. These are non-toxic markers. You can use it on paper, ceramics. Many times I've taken these and I've done dots on my artwork, lines. You press the tip in and it gets kind of like a drippy look to it. So there's just a lot of things that you can do with these painters. And the colors that they come in are just incredible. I don't even have the half of it. These are chalk pencils, and they're pastel coloring pencils. And these are great because they're semi-transparent, and some of them are opaque, and they just have a slightly different quality that you can use, a nice point. I scratch into paint with these. A lot of times I'll use these on my paper, watercolor paper, when I do my smaller art. There's so many other things I can use for my large art, but it's a great choice. These are pastels. On the one side, on the left, they're soft. There's some hard pastel. They're about the same thing, but the hard pastels are made from the same ingredient As a soft, they just contain more binder and less pigment. And so there's a little bit slight of a difference between the two. But they are pretty brilliant in their coloring. So they're a lot of fun to use, a lot of versatility there. These art bars are also look great. They're water-soluble bars, creamy, they're vivid, and they're wax-based. And they go on your canvas almost like an oil pastel, which are beautiful, but they're water-based over other colors. And these are almost, they're like my favorite. These are art graph, and they're from Portugal. And they're just absolutely incredible. It's like tailored chalk, and they come in all these different colors. You can do little pointed marks with the points of them, or you can use the side of them and make bigger marks. And watch when you put water on it. They're just incredibly rich. Then you can use the different ones on top of each other when they dry. And there's some more. You can use pencils. You can use, you see a little tiny thin lead there. I even have a holder for the lead right there. They are really beautifully, watch when I mark with that. They're just beautifully deep, rich charcoal that you can use in your paintings and in your paper products. The pencils there I use in drawings. Okay, these are from Derwent. They're the Intense. There's a couple different ones there, but these are incredible. These are the pencils. They're like watercolor pencils, but with like a firmer texture, and they give a brilliant, intense color. They can be used dry to give a rich, intense color, or with water to create a vivid, translucent look. But they're just absolutely beautiful. These are not cheap, but I have these in like several different tins, different sizes. I even travel with these. So the Derwent also gives these intent blocks, and they like bring a new freedom to you. These are absolutely beautiful in drawings and paintings. They're water soluble. They can be used wet or dry. They deliver like a pure, vivid color. When they're wet, they create like a translucent like paint that can be worked over again when they dry. But I couldn't do without these. They're just absolutely gorgeous colors. So there's a lot to choose from. No way do I use all these in one piece of art. I don't think I have, but there's just so much to choose from. This is only the tip of the iceberg. There's plenty more tools out there. So I'm going to jump right into the actual tool making objects that I use. I mean, again, I could fill this table up 2 times as much. These are the catalysts. You get these on Amazon. There's a whole bunch of different ones. This is what you use to scrape in your paint, mark in your paint. This is, again, just a few of them. That's a scraping tool that you can move your paint around, that you can make your marks in there. These are larger ones, also catalysts. You can get these from your paint store, all over the place. I think there's no end. Just Google in, mark making tools. There's one I use a lot when I make my circles. You can see the edges, and then you'll see that particular scrape in so many of my paintings. There's some more that I got on Amazon. That came from Lowe's. Just tons and tons of tools you can use. Any of those on any sides. That particular one is another. It's a color shaper that comes in many different colors too, and that's a wonderful tool. These are actually makeup brushes, makeup sponges. It's kind of like a silicone on the end, and that just moves paint around real smoothly. Now these are interesting. These are used to make like meditative dots. So you take those of different sizes, dip it in your paint, and then make dots on your art. Use that a lot in my paper art, but it's a meditative form of art that you can make. I use that with children. I've used that with people with dementia. There's a tiny point that's used in sculpture, but it has some fun points on the edge. I mean, there's no end. Of course, your water bottle. That's a must. I have several of them all over the place, so grab a couple of those at the dollar store. These are fun. These are sticks right out of my garden. You can tell that one I just used pretty recently. And you can make all sorts of marks because you can get all different sizes of sticks from your garden. So that's fun. These are just your foam brushes. There's different ones that come very simple. There's tiny ones that roll. There's foam brushes that have like marks in them that has indentations that you can use. You can make your foam brushes. You can just get a paint roller from the Lowe's. There's one I made with a big rubber band. So there's just no end to the imagination you can put into some of these tools that you can buy pre-made. That's just an egg mixer that I use just to kind of give some different markings that nobody can understand. Pencil. Hey, you just graffito or scribble. There's just a couple rollers. There's a No Pro. It's like a pie pastry thingy, and I put neofoam on there. That's what that sticks on there, and you can cut it out in different shapes. Put it on your pie cutter, your pie roller, and use that. Of course, brushes. There's one that I just cut a bunch of the bristles out of, and then that makes some interesting marks. That one just has stiff paint on it, which is great because you can make wonderful marks. So any brushes that you've left out, don't throw them away. Use them to make beautiful marks on your paintings. These are incredible brushes. They're plein air brushes. I get these on Amazon. You can get them probably from Jerry's. Very long. So you hold it from the very end of the brush and you just paint. There's different sizes, but I use those at the end of a lot of my paintings to give it a freedom. But they're some of my favorite brushes in my whole collection. These are sash brushes. They're very thick. They are what they are. Very thick brushes that you can add interesting marks on your painting. This one I just took a brush, stuck it on the end of a pole so that I could stand way back. A lot more freedom when you paint from afar, but that's a lot of fun. This is baby wipes, very easy to use on your art. Just use it when they're wet or dry and rub it into your painting. It kind of gives you a smooth, creamy, blendy look. And there is the paper towel. I think I don't know, utility men use this. But I use it just to roll that on my painting when it's wet and then take it to another part of my painting and roll it on there just to, take the marks and put them to another spot. So again, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to tools that you can use when you use in your art. But these are some of my favorite ones, and I hope some of these you'll grab and use them in your art and just see. This was just part one of the series, 5 ways to start an abstract painting. This went over the markers, the crayons, the graphites, everything that has to do with color, and some mark making tools that I use in my abstract art. The next series, it may be 1 or 2 at this point, I don't know, will be how to actually start abstract paintings. Hopefully I'll have 5 different scenarios for you to help you get inspired.